What Virginia football fans need to know about the Pitt Panthers? Chris Graham here on Augusta Free Press. Pitt didn't enter the 2024 football season with what you call expectations. They were 3-9 last year. If anything, the thought about Pitt football was maybe Pat Narduzzi's on the hot seat. Interestingly enough, turns out 2023 was the aberration. Pitt was picked 13th in the ACC in preseason. They got off to a 7-0 start. Lost last weekend, 48-25 loss to SMU. So that's puts a little bit of a damper on things. But Pitt's still technically in the ACC Championship race. A lot of teams still in there. A lot of work to do. They don't control their own destiny, and the focus is on the here and now. This weekend, the focus will be on not getting upset by Virginia. That's on a three-game losing streak. Virginia's 4-4, 2-3 in the ACC. Game will be in Pitt at Pitt on Saturday night, 8 o'clock, ACC Network. Vegas somehow has Pitt only a 7.5 point favorite in this one, and I mean, you get 3 points, 3.5 points for home field. I'm not sure how that could be the case. Um, ESPN Analytics does give Pitt a 76.1% win probability. That seems a little more realistic. Looking at this Pitt team, kind of a gloss over overview. Redshirt freshman quarterback Eli Holstein is he's the real deal. 257 passing yards per game, 63.5% completion rate, 17 touchdowns, 6 interceptions, and he's best on intermediate throws. So it's not just all dump down stuff, not just screens and that kind of thing. Pro Football Focus, he's 38 of 62 for 637 yards on passes that go at least 10 yards between the 10 and 19 yards in the air area. He has a 128.8 NFL passer rating on those throws. Good numbers there. His top targets, a wideout, Kanata Mumpfield, 33 catches on 51 targets, 541 yards. So that's, 16 something per catch. A slot receiver, Raphael Williams, 22 catches on 43 targets. That's a lot of targets, and that's a low completion percentage for a slot receiver. 267 yards and 5 touchdowns. Wideout, Kenny Johnson, 32 catches, 41 targets, 358 yards, 3 touchdowns. The tight end, Gavin Bartholomew, 24 catches, 30 targets, 188 yards. A lot of stuff, shorting over the middle there to him. Now, the tailback, Desmond Reed, is also a factor in the passing game. 45 targets, 30 catches, 386 yards. And he's 17 catches on 26 targets on passes, past the line of scrimmage, less than 10 yards down the field. So he's somebody you got to watch out for leaking out, wheel routes, that kind of thing. On the ground, Reed has 590 yards rushing, averages 5.8 yards an attempt, 4 touchdowns. And Holstein is actually pretty good as a runner, too. Mainly as a scrambler, 269 scramble yards, just under 10 yards an attempt on his scrambles. And he's a big guy, 6'4", 225. So NFL prototype size-wise, but he can still move around back there when he needs to. On defense, they got to watch the highest graded defender per Pro Football Focus is the safety Javin McIntyre. 16 tackles on running plays, 14 receptions allowed on 25 targets, just 87 yards on those receptions, and a 76.6 NFL passer rating on those. So double threat there can contribute in the run game defensively, and then also very good in pass coverage. Linebacker Kyle Lewis is a three-level guy defensively. 21 QB pressures, 4 sacks, 68 tackles, which leads the team. 46 of those on running plays leads the team. 3 interceptions leads the team. And in pass coverage, a 46.2 NFL passer rating. So man, I mean, that's a guy. That's a dude right there. Two other names you'll hear about a lot on the TV broadcast. Edge rushers Nick Matlack and Jimmy Scott. Matlack 26 QB pressures through 8 games, so three and a quarter per game, 3 sacks. And Scott 22 QB pressures and 4 sacks. Good numbers there. So the details on this one, Saturday, 8 o'clock, ACC Network. So it's going to be a long day for us, longer night for me because the game ends about 11:30. That's when I start working. The last meeting between these two was the last game of the 2022 season. We didn't know it was going to be at that point. Pitt won that one 37-7 on November 12th, 2022. The next day was the day that 3 UVA football players were shot and killed. A fourth was seriously wounded. And we'll never forget that. The Pitt game that had played before, uh, 2 pick sixes on the first two plays from scrimmage for EVA. Brennan Armstrong was still the quarterback back then. So not a good way to end that game and that season. Wes Durham will be on the play-by-play. Todd Luganbill, the analyst for ACC Network. The line on this one I mentioned is Pitt by 7.5. The over/under 57.5. That gives you a projected final score range. I like to do this based, and this is not me predicting it. This is what Vegas says just from its line, and then it's over under around the range of 31-24. It kind of adds up, right? Um, so check out Augusta Free Press. I had a story earlier in the week looking at Virginia's quarterback situation. No controversy there. Anthony Colandrea will be the starter this weekend. Got some offensive linemen back, which should be helpful to him. He was on his back a lot in the last one, the loss to North Carolina a couple weeks ago. So more details there, breaking down the UVA side of things. And if you have any questions for me, anything else, feel free to email me at chris@augustafreepress.com.